And that's one of the reasons why I'm telling y'all that right now, because this is like the first couple of weeks of January. Right now, y'all can count up all y'all money. Your last paycheck should have your year to date on there, and that also means that you should still have the capabilities to um, note. Uh, Snap, I forgot to do that part. I just realized I did do the SEOs on the video for the day, but you should be able to note the the um overtime hours and the tips and stuff to that effect on the show. There goes Steven. Special shout out. I got people watching here anyway. He said, "Hey, bro, can I get a birthday shout out? It's my birthday in April. So happy shout out, Stephen England, in April. Happy early birthday." Oh man, I appreciate you swinging by. They just integrated some stuff, so like I can actually get a lot of you guys' comments in the same spot at the same time now, even though y'all are catching me on the reel. So I was just looking at so many different things that have just changed on my interface, and I'm thinking to myself, dang, I should have checked on that a lot sooner. But no, so where were we? We were talking about um ooh, hold on. Double check this. Yeah, let's grab this one. This one will work. So we were talking about the ability to get your taxes done. Yes, that's what we're talking about. So if you guys put forth the effort to go ahead and get your taxes done, um, when they release all the tax files, you'll be able to just copy and paste. You can run down to your nearest H&R Block. I personally would just do it myself with TurboTax. If you pay the extra money to set it up, where TurboTax will um, give you your give you your audit protection stuff, then all you got to do is just really put your information in there. And with TurboTax, you can kind of evaluate the outcome of your situation and make sure that it's not compromised before you submit it. So if in the event that it doesn't look right, you can always make it look right. And then after that, then you can go ahead and make the necessary changes that you need to make, and then submit it. And now with TurboTax, they've got you filing it instantly online. They've got you e-filing it and everything like that. And with the new government rules that they've got out there, they've got you guys putting it into the direct deposit into your bank account. So it's not at all what we used to do back in the day. So if you qualify and you do what you got to do, likely you'll see the stuff hit your bank account within a few weeks of you setting it up. You know what I mean? Which is cool. That's cool. So you don't have to really break your back with trying to make sure that your stuff is taken care of. You just have to put forth the effort to make sure that you got everything lined up and under control and edged out right so that everything is taken care of when it is time to file, because you got until April. But if you start putting everything up now, then you'll know what you need to do. And I know that some people are going to say, oh well, I'm still waiting on my W-2s from the job. But bro, you're in January, so your very last paycheck in December has your year to date on it. You don't need to wait for your W-2. And if you're working on the same job that you worked on last year, guess what? You can use the same information. When you got TurboTax, it's already in there. So you're rolling over your details from last year to this year. So all you're really doing is sticking with the same employer and then changing the values in the prompts to show how much you made now versus how much you didn't make. So really the only thing that you're calculating right now is your overtime hours versus what wasn't your overtime hours before. You know what I mean? Your tax deductible overtime hours. So I strongly recommend that you get out there and try to get it in yourself. That would be my observation. But if you can if you have the money to pay somebody else to go and pay attention to how your money is running, then go ahead and get that done. But I'm just like self-sufficiency. I mean, eventually I'm gonna get to that point where I'm gonna have enough money where I don't need to worry about it because I'm paying somebody else to worry about it for me. But until I reach that point, I'm like, man, self-sufficiency, which is kind of important for today's show because today we're going to be talking about some of the different things that we do, little things here and there that we do that cost us money. And then when we think about it, truth of the matter is, when we think about it, we find ourselves wasting a lot of the money that we don't necessarily need to waste and throwing away thousands of dollars a year, sometimes hundreds of dollars a month, but thousands of dollars a year, which prevents us from being financially successful. Now, remember, I told you guys that at some point I'm going to be covering this on the show. And I'm serious. I'm going to be covering it on the show. I'm going to be showing you guys how you could essentially save a decent quantity of money out of your standard living based on and I'm talking about like everybody. This is like, so for those of us that come from a low income standpoint, if you're on the bottom 25 quartile and you are in a position where you're trying to better yourself, better your standard of living, you're making a median income, close to 50,000 a year, 30,000 a year, and if you were able to pay for your standard of living by yourself, and then you ended up in a positive relationship with a person that could help you pay for your uh, relationship, or not your relationship, but they are like co-partnering with the bills or whatever. You've got this situation where your expenses only go up by a percentage. So things that go up when you add an extra person to your house, the quantity of electricity. So basically, let's just go ahead and say utilities. All utilities are going to go up because you go from one person usage to two people usage. Then um, you have things that go up like transportation costs because even if you're sharing the same car, you're burning more gas if y'all don't both go to the exact same place at the same time. And if you're not sharing the same car, you have more cars, you have more car insurance, you have a lot more stuff going on with that, with transportation. You have medical expenses that are going to go up. You're going to have health insurance costs and stuff to that effect. But there's also other things that you do benefit from when you have extra people. And we're going to be getting into that today. Um, Before we get into that, I want to make sure that you guys note that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday we're going to be talking about business and finance. So we talk about the economy and how that negatively impacts our ability to make, save, and invest money on Monday. Tuesdays we talk about ways to money, save money, invest money, or budget money. Even though today, Thursday, we're going to be talking about a different way to budget some money. Um, it is because this is like a personal decision kind of thing, a way of life where when we talk about saving and budgeting money, it is like straight up investments on Tuesday. Then Wednesdays, we talk about different countries around the world that we can invest in and potentially go and live at a more affordable rate. So when we think about certain things, we're going to be getting into that later today. But when we start thinking about certain things like um, family plans on cell phones, um, joint car insurances, um, when we think about other things that like we could save money on if we bulk it together. When two people come together into a household, you actually save a lot more money between the two of you. And when you think statistically that in a heterosexual relationship that men spend 41% of their money on their woman, and the woman has about 21% of income lost when she leaves the relationship. If you imagine the 21% of her personal expenses that would be his financial responsibility, right? Then you would assume that he would have a 21 out of 100% of what he pays for, he would have like a 21% increase, which would be like 120%, 125%. So if he's living a $50,000 a year lifestyle and you did a 20% increase on that, he'd probably be doing like a $60,000 a year lifestyle with a partner. 65,000 with the partner, which still kind of tiptoes towards that median average. Good standard living is like 68,000, right? Now, 68,000 not necessarily doable with two $30,000 a year incomes. But let's be real. The average American that's making now, we just covered it on the show a while back that everybody's making like $15 an hour. The average American now that is drawing back that $15 an hour is also dancing on the tune of uh like 45 to 50,000 a year, 55,000 a year on average. Now, if we recognize those individuals that have that 40 to $50,000 a year income, and that $50,000 a year income gets doubled because you got two people living in the same house, even though your standard of living between the two of you is about 60,000 a year, you're still looking at roughly bringing in 100,000 a year between the two of you. And if you're bringing in 100,000 a year between the two of you, there's a $40,000 overhead that's not, or a $40,000 discretionary spending that's not going on the overhead, more to say, right? Now, that's one of the things that we have thought about for a while. And when we recognize that, we also recognize that uh, we're spending that $40,000 somewhere else. And while I understand that women got their upkeep that they want to pay for and guys got their hobbies that they want to pay for, truth be told, there are certain things that we don't need to put our money towards that we actually do. And that's one of the reasons why we're with today's show. So I know you guys have probably been told before to save your money and use willpower to get that. Honestly, I'm going to tell you it's terrible advice. It's not just willpower. So let's forget about budgeting and self control for a minute because I'm going to show you guys, I mean, five weird psychological tricks that will make it effortless to stop uh, mindless spending and start automatically building wealth. Because we're not talking about skipping your daily latte. We're talking about rewiring your brain so that savings becomes your default setting. The easy choice, not the daily struggle. And this isn't about depriving yourself. It's about financial aikido, using the momentum of your own bad habits against them to make you richer. I want you guys to stick with me because the fifth hack that we get into down the line is a genuine game changer, and that will completely transform how you look at every dollar that you almost spent. So let's be real for a second because the classic advice to just stop spending so much is useless. It's like telling someone who's stressed out to just relax. It doesn't work because it ignores why we're spending in the first place, right? Our brains are hardwired for instant gratification, and in our world, retailers are masters at exploiting our desires. They use everything from the music in their stores to the layout of their websites to trigger a dopamine hit that makes you slam that buy now button. And here's how uh, the thing works. Look, willpower is a finite resource. It's a muscle that gets tired. By the end of a long, stressful day, your willpower is shot. And that is exactly when you find yourself scrolling through Amazon, adding things to your cart that you don't actually need. And I'm going to be honest with you, I do the same thing. I do it differently though, because when I'm scrolling through, I get on Temu and I look at stuff and I will put stuff in the cart. There's probably $20,000 worth of stuff in the cart. But see, I don't buy it the same day that I put it in the cart. When I put stuff in the cart, I put it in the cart and then I get offline. And then I go find something else to do. Play some chess, watch some movies on Netflix, do some research for the show, try to get me some sleep, stuff to that effect. And then weeks later, months later, sometimes there's some stuff I put on Temu 2 years ago that's still there if I'm still thinking about it, if I still want it down the line, if I've been looking at it every couple of weeks for the last uh 2 months, and now I've got the money to buy it, then I'll buy it. But it's not necessarily an impulse buy because I've been thinking about trying to get this forever, seemingly, right? But I also weigh my options versus my needs of the item versus my wants for certain items. So if I cannot find practical use for it on a regular basis, then I'm probably not going to get it. So, for example, I bought some stuff for winter. It's cold as fuck. So while I'm going to wear it for winter, I'm going to put it up after winter. So I'm going to be wearing it for next winter, but every year I'm going to wear it because my body size isn't going to change anymore. This is what it is. If anything, I'm going to get thinner, right? Now, we also recognize that when you buy trinkets and stuff that make you feel good, stuff like that, that dopamine hit when you buy it, the second dopamine hit when you get it, it's not going to continue to be there. Because, say, for example, like I bought some incense for the house and I bought the 100 pack for the little Bernie thingies to go with it. Um, I got that to offset the certain things that are going on in the house. So by buying it, I bought two kinds. I bought a little bitty one, and then I bought a big one that has like it flows, the smoke flows through, and then it flows out into this little cup, and then it just kind of like goes off into the air. Um, one unnecessarily cost like $25, and the other one was like $3. I could have bought like four of the $3 ones and put them all over the house for 20 bucks. But the big one that I had bought looked neat. But I have no guess. Now, is that a bad buy? Technically, you could say so, but I actually am entertained by it every time I light it up. So I get more use out of it because I use it several times a month, and I've been using it ever since I bought it in October, right? And we're in January, and I'm still using it. And then I got a bag of stuff, and every few days I'm like, man, let me light one of these, right? Put one on both of them, and that's why I got two because I can put one in one room and one in another, right? I found value in something that I'm going to use multiple times. It's not something that I'm just going to look at once and walk away from it, use it two or three times and walk away from it. This is an item that I'm going to use for years to come. That's how I tell the difference between what I should buy and what I shouldn't buy. I seen 100 garbage bags on sale, and I was like for $6, and I was like, yeah, shoot. Every time I go to Walmart, I'm paying like $2 and some change for 30. So if I can get 100 of them for $7, bet I'll get I'll buy enough garbage bags where I can take trash out every day for a year. I'll buy it that way. I don't have to go to the store no more. I I seen a 48 pack of the scrubs, the scour pads, and I bought the 48 pack, $5. A 48 pack. I, I use probably one of those a month. That 48 pack that'll last me for 48 months. And this is like get it now and I don't have to get it again for a long period of time kind of thing. And the reason why I'm talking about this before we get into the ins and outs of this is that when I made the purchases that I made, I now have found I went to the store for the month, for the month, and you know what? I could not find $200 worth of stuff to buy because I got everything I need in the house. I everything that I needed I've already gotten from last month. That's still here this month, and there's nothing else that I need to get. So now I'm like, gee, now I gotta spend another $100 before the end of the month. That's gonna roll over to February, where I'm not gonna be spending as much money in February, which is fantastic. I'm able to take the extra money that I'm not spending on things that I didn't need, and I'm able to take that money and put it towards other stuff. Advance paying on bills, like paying the rent a month, 2 months, 3 months in advance. Advance paying on the car insurance, paying the car insurance off for 6 months. Advance paying on the phone bill, paying the phone bill 2, 3, 4 months in advance. By making these changes, guess what I'm able to do? Just by making these changes. This is before put it into a stock option, put it into a savings, put it into another thing. I'm able to take these things and put it into a place where now I'm advance paying all of my bills, all of my primary necessity, guaranteedly going to kick me in the dick kind of bills. And now I've got 2, 3 months of advance payment. So what happens if you get sick and you are the primary income? Well, shit, you can take a week off from work because your bills ain't due till March. Yeah, that is good advice, Stephen. You could take just by buying what you know that you need, especially if you can buy it in bulk, you buy what you know that you need, and now you don't need to buy it on a regular basis. So instead of having a monthly budget to get this, you got a quarterly budget. And then the rest of the quarter, you're buying it, you're paying off everything that you know that you're gonna have to do. And when I tell people, because my buddy tried this one time and I told him don't do it, he tried to advance pay his car note. It doesn't work like that with your car note because you owe them way more money than what you're supposed to pay them. So if you overpay on the car note, it just brings the bill down faster. You still owe the same amount of money next month, but your utility bills are fixed amounts of money. For example, hold on, okay. Hold on, let's see. He said, is there a benefit to advance paying bills, but peace of mind, like a discount? We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Because you have fixed bills like light bill, water bill, gas bill, cell phone bill. These bills are fixed bills, and it's a guaranteed service. You don't get a discount on these particular types of bills. It You paying in advance, it technically does give you a peace of mind, but when you pay in advance your cell phone bill, what it does give you is a blanket of extra capital on your cell phone account, at least here in America, so that if in the event that you do want to make a purchase, like buy you another cell phone, they can take the money off of your account and put it towards that cell phone, and then you don't have to take so much money out of your pocket and put it towards that cell phone. So say you wanted to buy a new iPhone and you've got $900 on your phone bill. Well, you could charge that $900 towards that iPhone, and then they charge you the difference. And typically, if you're going to get a plan with that, if they're going to hook you up with a plan with that, where you only had to put $600 down towards the iPhone, they'll just hand you the iPhone, take the $600 off of your phone bill, and then you pay the monthly difference. Now, is there a discount in other situations? Yes, there are. Certain car insurances offer you benefits when you pay for it in advance. So some car insurances charge you installment fees or stuff to that effect when you're paying them month to month. But if you pay them all at once at the beginning of the cycle, one, you don't have to pay for it anymore for the next 6 months. But two, they sometimes give you a massive discount on it, which makes it cheaper. Okay. Um, there are certain situations like finding discounts on gas with if you can catch it at the right price, but the peace of mind is more important than just saving a little money. Because think about it, what's better for you? Putting the money in a bank account that's not going to get you any interest between now and the time that you spend it, and having the peace of mind in the bank, or having the bill already paid and having the peace of mind that your rent's not going to be late, because saving money on not paying it late because you forgot, or because your paycheck didn't come in on time, or if you got furloughed in October but your rent was paid through January, you would have missed 2 months of work and you would not have gone behind on your rent. So it's not just a peace of mind. You prevent yourself from getting at late fee. You prevent yourself from getting interest on the late fees. By advance paying, you prevent yourself from forgetting, because just like where we are now, the place just overhauled the finance system. So we had to download some new apps and get all the payment options set up. And when we got the payment options set up, and I always pay in advance. So I paid them, then I paid him again, and then I paid him again. So the new system caught the last payment. They're sending everybody a notice saying, "Hey, make sure that your rent's paid on time, because if it's not, we're charging you an extra $150." I went down and talked to them, and they're like, Nah, bro, you're good till March 1st. That's not for you. You're good till March 1st. So it's not just it's not just a peace of mind kind of thing, because when the system was down in December, you had to go get money orders. You have to go and withdraw it from the bank if you don't have the ability to get the cashier's check. Then you have these problems where if you don't have time, now your paycheck happens on the third. You don't get a day off till the fifth or the eighth. You're trying to run out there and get the money put in before the, you know what I mean? And then you have all of these problems, right? And God forbid you forget. God forbid you forget. So if your rent was due on the 1st of January and you paid that January rent on the 1st of December, and today we're on what, the 7th of January, and you're like, oh snap, let me go pay the rent. You're paying for February's rent today. So even though you're 7 days late from the first, you're 21 days ahead of the actual due date. This is kind of like offsetting procrastination, right? We don't get prepayment on bills in Germany. You get options to only pay quarterly or yearly for a sizable discount. Rent not though. Okay, so exactly. Now in Germany, if you have the options to pay quarterly or yearly for a sizable discount, that is a fantastic situation. If you don't have enough money to pay quarterly, your goal is to change the way you spend money so that you can save enough money so that next quarter you can pay for the whole quarter so that you can get a discount. Now, when you get that discount because you paid for the whole quarter, that money that you're not going to spend this time around is going to go towards helping you pay for the yearly. So say they take off $300 or $400 because you're paying by the quarter. If you're saving that kind of money 4 times a year, the next year you should be able to pay the whole year. Because if you're taking the entire principal that you would have put down and you're putting it away and then advance paying on the bill, eventually you're going to have enough to pay the whole thing at one time. Now what you're thinking about is this is the amount that I have to pay annually. I'm going to put that money away now so that when it is time to pay for it annually, I can pay for it. And since I've already got it, I don't have to wait until the day that it's due. I could give it to them early. That money goes directly in the tank of the bike. Well, if you take extra money, so if you're burning a lot more gas on transportation, especially if it's gas you don't need, you could probably preserve a little bit of it. At least here in America, we have opportunities to have certain things like we get the groceries delivered every day, every couple days, really, at least twice a week. So if we need something, we order most of it, which is another reason why we didn't need anything when we went to the store because most of it's been delivered to the house over the past 2 weeks, right? When it was too cold outside, when it was raining, when it's snowing, we get stuff delivered to the house. If there's a hurricane outside, we get it delivered to the house, right? So we don't go outside in bad weather. We let somebody else do it, right? Now, um, if you're saving money on this, you're saving money on transportation, then you can still be able to improve your ability to live your best life by reducing your unnecessary costs. It's not about living like a bum. It's not about living like you're homeless. It's about reducing unnecessary spending. The difference between a $15 cup of coffee at Starbucks and making coffee at your house. Because, like, for example, I bought a coffee pot to replace the other coffee pot. So I didn't just buy this coffee pot for the sake of buying it. The other coffee pot is going out. I actually have to put weight on it so that it brews the coffee because I got a Keurig coffee pot, right? I've had this coffee pot for 2 or 3 years now. and it was a gift. I didn't even have to pay for it. So since I don't have the mechanical skills to fix it, and it's probably going to cost me more money to pay somebody to fix it than what it would be to buy another one, I just bought a second one. So now I've got two. I've got the one that was given to me. I'm still going to keep it. I can use it. It still works a little bit, but I've got the other one. The other one that I bought cost me like $45. For $45, it froths and brews coffee. So now I got the foam at the top. I've got the coffee at the bottom. I actually be sitting here drinking the coffee. I'll be drinking the coffee here during the show, and I use that coffee pot every day. Now I can buy 98 cups of coffee, 98 36-ounce cups of coffee from Walmart for about 10, maybe $20. 10-pound bag of sugar might be $5. Um, and then the cream might be $10. So let's say 20, 10, that's 30, and another 5, 35, rounded up to $45 plus the coffee pot. That is less than $100. And I have coffee for the rest of the year. 36-ounce cups of coffee for the rest of it. 98 cups, right? For $100. 98 cups of coffee. That's less than $1 per cup. Now, I could buy 98 cups of Starbucks at $15 a cup. See the difference? It's not about doing without. It's about changing how you do it. So instead of me spending extra money on going somewhere else and having somebody else make my coffee, I just do it fancy at the house. Now the difference, I could get $30 worth of Kahlua and froth it at the house and have me some alcohol in my coffee and make me something fancy. But a $15 bottle of liquor to go into my coffee, where that bottle of liquor will probably go through 30 cups of coffee that way, right? Again, I'm still not spending more than $130 on coffee for 98 cups of coffee. I know Kahlua is love, and that's why I got the frother, because I can froth that Kahlua and then put me a dark roast coffee into that Kahlua, and that's gonna that's almost like a tiramisu for the soul, right? And I can do that across 98 cups of coffee. And that's just one thing. So the quantity of money that is saved, and I still get the caffeine that I'm looking for. That is what we're talking about. You got to understand, the problem isn't that we're always bad with money. The problem is that you're fighting a battle against an army of marketing psychologists with a single exhausted soldier, because your willpower can only go so far before you're spending money, before you're cashing in on hanging out with the homies at the club, before you're throwing down capital to go and buy something, but order you a pizza because you haven't had one in a while, or there's so many things that we can buy. And that's not including the subscriptions that we have lying around. That some of them we forget that we have that we don't use. We've put money towards stuff that we don't cash in on. Like there's a lot of stuff going on, right? And when we're buying these things, we impulse buy. You look around your house, you find your house is cluttered with stuff. Your house isn't dirty, but your house has so much stuff in so many different places that you can't put everything in the closet. You can't slide everything under the bed. You've got stuff just sitting in a corner somewhere because you don't have anywhere else to put it. Exactly. So he said, I currently live in a big city, eating like super extensive because eating out all the time. And I'm now moving into a house in the countryside, and I expect my expenses going down despite the mortgage. Yeah, your expenses is going to go down because you're going to eat more at the house, because if you're out in the rural areas, you're outside of the big city area, you're not going to want to commute. to the big city to go and eat. And one of the things you're going to find is when you cook at the house, you can do something that you can't do at the restaurant. You can cook in bulk at the house, and then you can have leftovers that you can pop in the microwave. So you can make a bigger meal for like 10 or 20 people, put it in the fridge, and then take some out whenever you want some. And now you've got 10 or 20 different servings after the first time you make it. And the food tastes so much better the next day. So all you got to do is just hit it up, heat it up, and eat it. And that benefit, for example, you can make a big lasagna instead of buying two. Special shout out to Michael. You can give yourself a tip. You can, cook yourself your favorite meal. You can find out how, whatever it is. Like one time I made some boneless spare ribs because I really wanted some. Instead of me spending $25 on some boneless spare ribs, I spent $25. Well, no, I spent $40 on enough boneless spare ribs to last me for a month. So I was eating it every day. I actually did. I made them and then I put it up on the podcast. And then, yeah, exactly, exactly. He said, you can raid family dinners. You can if you're a family man and you go spend time, what time your families are cooking dinner, and you pass by their house for dinner, you can go and eat by your friends and family's houses. You could, and if that's a habit, you're at least getting one free meal a day. You could invite a friend over. But see, that's another thing. If you're the kind of person that cooks, you can invite all your friends over. Y'all can be broed down playing spades. Y'all could be broed down playing fight night, Call of Duty, whatever the case may be. And then you could just come out with, I've done it before. Steak and potatoes. We didn't had pastas. We didn't had surf and turf. We didn't had scallops. We done had fish, all kinds of stuff. Y'all could do potlucks. Look at what Michael talking about. Y'all could do potlucks where y'all could come together is in a group, and y'all can have family style dinners amongst your friends where y'all don't have to put all that money into. Nah, see, you acting fool. Nah, he said play strip poker. In a room full of dudes, you should not be playing strip poker. But but y'all can save money that way instead of going out to the streets and throwing that money in the streets. Just stressing the power of community and family to make bulk anything work. Not so much in the optimized cities. Well, see, the thing is that you can stress family. If you get back to family oriented behaviors, you can stress family. And if you did stress family, then you would have more social interactions, which would less encourage you to be trying to find that fulfillment by going to dance clubs and going to night adventures or whatever the case may be. $20 for cover, $15 to park, two drink minimum, $7 a drink. You'd have spent $85 just to get in the door, and then you don't know anybody there. So now you're awkwardly talking to the staff because you know the staff because you go there frequently, and you spend more time hanging out with the staff than getting to know new people. And then you go back to the house and you listen to some loud music and you had your few drinks. You went back to the house, but you spent $150. You also could have spent $30 and spent time with people that you know and had a fantastic time and not had to spend as much money. But even if you were the kind of person that prefers to stay by yourself, you also could have spent $30 and you could have fed yourself and stayed at home and not had to spend so much money on eating out. Because you got people that do 5-star restaurants and all this stuff trying to impress girls and everything to that effect. He said, no nightclubs, no yo-yo, nothing but open roads and farm fields. So you're just gonna go for a long drive. You're gonna go for a long drive. I mean, if you've got those kind of open fields, you could go out there in them farm fields and start doing tomorrow's work tonight. That way you can sleep tomorrow. It's cooler when you work at night. Plow the fields at night. That way you're not working up a sweat. And that's one of the reasons why I brought up the question. What if you don't have to fight the willpower of peer pressured marketing? What if you're instead of gritting your teeth and relying on self control, that you use a few simple, almost invisible systems that would make saving money the path of least resistance, which is what we're all about today. So we're going to be giving you guys the ability to install 5 psychological hacks directly into your life. And these aren't about spreadsheets or tracking every penny. These are unorthodox systems designed to trick your brain into saving and investing on autopilot, where you're basically about to turn your biggest spending triggers into your most powerful wealth building tools, making financial progress happen in the background without you even thinking about it. Oh, he said, parties are private over there, so any pay only pay for the bottles you bring. Oh, yeah, bring your own beer. Hire the high school chair as your cook and entertain. Oh, the choir. Hire the high school choir as your cook and entertain. Well, I would not hire the high school choir specifically because they're under the age of 18 and then they are not good at singing. But I understand if you're out there in the middle of the boondocks somewhere, you might be able to pull that off. I work remote IT. Yeah, I work remote too, a teacher and a real estate agent. And I invest in myself. We got the dividend rotation strategy with the core satellite portfolio up here right now. We just were talking about trading stocks just now. I cannot do self control, so I move away from my bad financial decisions. Well, that's one way to do it, but you know what the problem with that is that you are not reevaluating how you regulate your impulses, knowing that if you have access to it, you're going to spend money on it, knowing that if you have the capabilities, you are not going to restrict yourself. That is distancing yourself from that. That is something you still need to work on because, again, when you get back into the city and you have the opportunity, you're going to go all in. Bad financial decision opportunities, they're going to still be there just because you're too far away. An alcoholic can drink less alcohol if he doesn't buy the alcohol himself. But notice the alcoholic is going to drink less alcohol because he's not buying it himself. He still has to gain the willpower to not go places where people will give him alcohol for free. That's a whole nother level of self control. If the goal is to stop drinking alcohol, it's not just saving money on it by not buying it yourself. It's also not going to the places that will cause you to spend the money or allow somebody to offer you a free drink so that you will still be drinking when the goal is to stop drinking. If you're trying to improve your financial decision making, it's not just distancing yourself from the things that you normally would spend your money on. It is also um, not just showing self control and not buying it, but also prioritizing something else with the money so that the money isn't there to spend on. If all you had was gas money to get home and whatever your impulse was, and you really wanted to go home, you would put the gas in your car to go home. One of the things that you do to regulate your impulses is make it hard for you to access your money outside of emergency funds. And we haven't gotten into that yet, but Look, and that's what we're going to be talking about today, is changing bad habits into good habits. But think about the fact that um, if you, what I do is I fill my gas tank on the way home. That way, I have a full tank of gas when I leave the house. But if you were the kind of person that filled your gas tank up on the way out, you would only leave the house with enough money to put gas in your car. Everything else that you want, you don't got enough money for. So you'll look at it, and then when you think, "Oh, I'm going to pay for it," but I didn't bring money for that. Now you can't pay for those things. You've got money, you left it at the house. It's a lot like when girls go out on dates. They deliberately leave their wallet. They bring the type of purse that has their ID in it, but they make sure that the other little pocketbook that goes inside of it that has all of their cash in it, that stays at home because their intention is to force you to pay, right? Not saying that all women do this, but I'm saying that hypothetically, that's how you avoid paying for it, by deliberately not bringing your money, right? You build a habit. For example, anybody who plays video games on their cell phone, by deliberately not setting up your Google wallet, by deliberately not setting up your Apple Pay wallet, by deliberately not setting up your Samsung wallet, you don't have the capabilities of impulse buying on a video game, because it's going to ask you for your financial information. And a lot of times you are not right next to your wallet or your purse. You have to get up, turn on a light, go to where the wallet is, pull the card out that you want to use, and then you have to type in the information. And all of that effort would discourage you from making the purchase, plain and simple. The same way, anybody who has a problem with getting up on time, you set an alarm clock that's obnoxiously loud and put it on the opposite side of the room. It's gonna wake you up because it won't. And then you don't do it on one of those regular 5 minute timers. You do it on one of those 15-minute, like it'll never go off kind of timers with the three repeat alarms, so that it's going to keep going off for 30 minutes. There's no way that you're not getting up off of this alarm, because it is so obnoxiously annoying that it is going to continue to pressure you to get out of bed. And by the time you walk to the other side of the room to turn the alarm off, you're so pissed off, you're awake. If you put it where you can knock it off the counter, turn it off, and not even wake up, it's not going to serve its purpose. But if you force yourself to get up to go across the room and go turn it off, you're up now. He said, it's actually cheaper to fill the tank than to stop every $20. You're definitely right. You fill the whole tank. I top it off. I go above and beyond. I have a little bit of gas coming out the top. But he says, I also like to use small bills and don't do cards. You think twice before you count. Yes, before you count those euros in fibers on the counter. That's a good way to do it too. Um, Leaving all of your credit cards at home would prevent you from overspending. Um, and then bringing just enough cash to take care of things. But you know what? Because here in America, we have the opportunity for preloaded secured cards, where you put enough money on that card, and then you go and you take that card to go do what you got to do with, but you can only spend what's on that card. So if you're planning for gas in the car, and maybe like a tire or whatever, extra $30 on top of it, like that's all you have on this car. Any other transaction above that is not going to happen. So that kind of helps. Yeah, but see, even if you do debit in Germany, you still have certain bank accounts that only have a certain quantity of money in it. So you still can have, and see, with Germany, you can have more than one bank account, and you can have your direct deposit in one account, and then the money that you're going to spend in another account. So you don't have to always carry cash with you, but you can carry cash before you carry your primary bank account card. You want to keep wherever, whatever. I was just having this conversation with my father earlier today. The bank account that money gets deposited in is not the bank account that money comes out of. You mandatorily withdraw it from it yourself and put it somewhere else or wire transfer it to somewhere else. And then the bank account that you take money out of, that one does not affect the money that's getting direct deposited. So if you lose your card, the most you're going to get is the $30, like Michael said, prepaid cards. Exactly. Uh, so having your debit card tied directly to your bank account, and you're going out for a night of fun, that is dangerous. And also, we really have more than one account. Fees are cray cray. There are banks in certain areas that have no fees. I can't say that it's like that in every country. I know out of the 8,000 plus institutions that we have, half of them are credit unions, the other half are banks. We do have some that have no fees. And those are the ones that we put our money in. Since the world's going to go plastic, invest in data storage. Good point. Oracle is a good data storage company, and we have that on our rotation strategy. Now, let's kick things off with a foundational problem because I want to cover some ways for us to make ourselves better. Spending money today is just super easy. We've been talking about it for over an hour. It's completely frictionless right now. One click checkouts, saved credit cards on Apple Pay, buy now, pay later things. We just talked about that like 2 months ago on how that can ruin your credit. All of those microloans. These things were designed with one goal to remove any pause between your impulse and your purchase. They want you to act on your pure emotion before logic has a chance to chime in. Our counterattack is the friction over willpower protocol. Damn right, electronic pickpockets. Because they'll send you they used to send you those little postcard, little flyer things in the mail. Oh, get this really awesome jacket for free. And then you're like, oh sweet, what how do I sign up for that? Oh, just give us five minimum purchases of $25 a month. And it ain't free. You got some like, oh, they just said, what was it, the police department or some crap just recently? Oh, if you donate $20 or more, get this authentic United States American flag. And I'm sitting over here looking like, man, I could just buy the fucking flag for $20. Why am I donating money to your cause for a flag that costs $20, which you probably didn't pay $20 to make? Because it ain't the like 11 foot by 8 foot fucking big ass American flag that they're gonna send you. It's not the one that they bury veterans with that they're gonna send you for that $20 donation, you know. But they they trick you with the thing, and they're like, oh yeah, well if I give you something free, and that's actually a business model. That's actually a business model. There is a business model where the goal is to get money out of the customer. So you will offer certain things for free and then sell everything around it. For example, you give instead of charging per game for bowling, you give them an all-day bowling pass for way less money. They think they got them a deal, but they're gonna pay for the shoes, they're gonna pay for the food, they're gonna pay for the drinks. You're gonna pay per lane, but you're gonna let a bunch of people share the lane. But everybody that's at that lane is eating and drinking, and everybody bought their own shoes. Some people are gonna buy their own bowling balls. So you're gonna sell bowling balls. So now you're making all of this money around the fact that they've got the lanes. Take the roller rinks. Y'all know that we used to rollerblade on those things hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. They're like you can skate as much as you want, unlimited skating, right? But you're going to pay for the shoes. You're going to pay for food. You're going to pay for drinks. You're going to have the people who don't feel like skating. They're going to be shooting pool and playing foosball and hockey, air hockey, and all sort of stuff. And there's so many things that's going to happen around the primary skating option. where they offer you free stuff so that you can spend money around the free stuff. It's called a lost leader. Yeah. So we get that advertisement scenario with nightclubs. Ladies get in free, ladies drink free until midnight, and the fellas pay $20 a head to get in, two drink minimum, $10 a glass. So instead of charging $10 a person, we fill the room full of women for free, and then all of the men will pay double to get in because they thirsty. It's a business model. They're still going to get their money because the men are going to spend more money per person on the women that they're talking to than what the women would have paid on themselves. Not because the women don't have the money to do it, not because the women aren't willing to do it, but because the men are so determined to take these women home that they will spend 2 to 3 times more money because every drink he buys for himself, he's going to buy her one. She might buy all of her drinks, but he will buy all of her drinks and all of his drinks. So a man is willing to spend 2 times more money on his interactions in a room full of women than what women will spend in a room full of women. It's a business model. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be working on this willpower protocol. Instead of trying to find the willpower to say no to certain purchases, we're just going to make saying yes a little bit more annoying. So we're going to be putting the speed bumps back into place to slow down our ability to purchase stuff. The psychology here is going to be simple. Even a tiny bit of extra effort can derail any impulsive action. So when you're in the mindless scrolling zone, your brain is on autopilot. You're not making a conscious, reasoned decision. A little bit of friction forces you to switch from that emotional autopilot brain to your logical thinking brain. And once your logical brain wakes up, it starts asking questions like, do I really need this? And how many hours of work does it actually cost? And one of the reasons why I tell you about this is because when I be switching through the Timo, I told you I put all those things into the cart and then I don't buy them. It's because when I go to the cart, I technically can't buy it because there's like $4,000 or $5,000 worth of stuff in the cart. None of the cards that I have attached to that account would authorize that transaction. I literally have to go through and remove things from the purchase so that my card would clear the transaction. And the effort it takes to deselect certain things, I don't want to buy anything now. I'm like, fuck it. Look, yep, get your papers and crayons out because you know we're about to get educated right now. So this hack, the one I'm about to tell you, is going to solve the problem that is all too familiar. You're tired after a long day, you're scrolling on your phone, an ad pops up for a gadget you didn't know existed 5 minutes ago, but now you feel like you can't live without it. Your card is saved, your address is pre filled, you can double tap on your phone, your face is scanned, and poof, it is on its way to your house. The whole thing took less than 3 seconds. Your willpower never even had a chance to put it on the books. It didn't even get the bootstraps tied up before the situation was already sold. So here is how you implement some friction protocols step by step. First, add this big one. Go into every single online account you have, Amazon, Target, your favorite clothing store, food delivery apps, and delete all of your saved credit card information. All of it. Just delete it. Don't just update it, remove it altogether. This one act is revolutionary. The next time you get an impulse to buy something, you can't just auto click it. You have to physically get up, find your wallet, pull out your card, type in the 16 digits, the expiration date, the security code. That small act of physical effort is your circuit breaker. It creates a pause. In that 30-second pause, your logical brain wakes up. It's just enough time for the initial dopamine urge to fade and for reason to take over. You'll be amazed at how often you get halfway through looking at the item in your cart and you think, you know what? I don't actually want this. Or, fuck it, I'm not trying to find my wallet. Because if you're lying in bed, your wallet's not on the same side of the room as you. Some of y'all leave your wallet in your work pants. Your work pants is on the floor somewhere. You're not trying to get out of bed and go find your wallet to find the card that's going to work for this transaction so that you can turn on a light because you just got used to being in the dark. And now your eyes are hurting while you're trying to type in this information. It's too much work. It's too much work. He said, time to make a budget. Oh, no. Uh, give your paycheck to your wife. If you have a wife from the Philippines, that would work because she's probably going to put it all on food. And when you run out of space for food, it's extra money. But uh, you just wanted the thrill of the hunt when you're going through the shopping carts, you're putting stuff into you're going through those websites, you're looking at things you might would buy if you had $1 million, and you're putting stuff into the cart, and then that thrill is gone because uh, it's gonna disappear the second you have to really work for anything to get it. That dopamine rush is going to dissipate really quickly. Now, second, you want to go on an unsubscribe rampage. Open your email and ruthlessly unsubscribe from every single promotional email, every 24-hour flash sale, or you left something in your cart notification. Unsubscribe from everything. Email is a physical attack on your wallet for anybody who checks their email. And it is designed to create urgency and scarcity. By unsubscribing, you're not just cleaning your inbox, you're building a fortress around your focus. You can't be tempted by a sale you don't know is happening. Write down everything you spend the money, like categories: food, auto insurance, health insurance, car payments, clothes, Netflix, etc. Okay, so yeah, Michael's got a fantastic idea. That is something that you do when you are watching your money. And if you do that, you will be able to see how much money you're spending, but that's not going to discourage you from spending the money if you know that you have money left over that doesn't have a purpose. One of the things that the millionaire mindset does is it teaches people to find a purpose with their money by investing it in the future: stocks, bonds, Bitcoin, gold, silver, health savings accounts, so that your money is somewhere else making money for you instead of short term gratification where the principal is gone. But if you, that's not going to stop you from making impulse decisions. If you turn off your instant access to impulse buying, you're not as capable of making that impulse purchase. So, just like the gentleman was talking about in Germany, he only brings a limited quantity of cash because he really has to think about how much he's spending versus how much he has left every time he pulls money out of his wallet. It's not as easy to just tap your card and keep moving because you don't have to think about it. I went to Subway today and spent $20 on a Subway sandwich for the first time this year. 7 days into the thing. And uh the fact is that it was easy to do because I was able to touch the thing on the register and walk right out of the door. But if I would have had to bring money to get something to eat, if I would have brought like $10 and I would have looked at the price on the menu and the item on the menu was almost $10, I would not be able to add extra items. I would not be able to pick up extra stuff. I would not be able to be upsell because I only got $10. What can I get for $10? So I'm limiting myself. So anytime the curating, this is a fantastic thing. And I believe that everybody should do this. And a lot of the fintech apps are doing this. They are taking every purchase that you have and then they're categorizing them. And then you can go to a spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet will tell you how much money you're being responsible with and how much money you're wasting. And then it's going to set a budget challenge for you to not spend that much money. But the problem is you still don't have the motivation. Is that I call it taking control of your money. I agree with you. That is fantastically taking control of your money because you're watching how much money goes out the window, but you're not doing anything to stop it. Documenting it like that, you can start by seeing how much money is leaving, and then you need to find ways to stop the money from leaving. It's almost like if you were Hugh Hefner and your money was all the Playboy bunnies, whatever you got to do to keep them from leaving the house, besides chain them to a wall, that's what you got to do. But slowing down them walking out and encouraging more to stay, that is what you're trying to do. And this is just a psychological thing because truthfully, our mental focus on what we're doing can easily discourage us. When you know that you've got an important bill coming up, you're less likely to impulse buy. But if you know that you have nothing important coming up, you have no problem with impulse buying. If you realize that you have more money to spend than what you thought, you have more money to impulse buy. And funny thing, the same thing with your ability to impulse buy. If you know that you've got a friend that's willing to give you money, all it takes is for you to know that your friend's got money and you go ask them for money. If you don't know that your friend's got money, you can't ask them for money. So how does your friend stop you from asking for money? Make your friend believe that you're broke. They're never going to ask you for money. The impulse. Because if you know that they'll ask and you'll say yes, if you make sure that they think you never got it, they'll never come and ask for it. And you're right. The purpose of extra money is supposed to go into investments, but you have to first not spend the money so that you have extra money to invest. And that's what we're trying to get to right now. We're just trying to get you guys to spend less money, spend less unnecessary money. Because we're not saying don't buy new clothes when you need new clothes because your old clothes need to be thrown away because they're holes, stained, burnt up, whatever the case may be. We're not saying don't buy food. We're not saying don't get your Brazilian weave. What we're saying is that some stuff that you normally would not have bought, that you're buying it because you're looking at it right now, not because you need it. If it was difficult for you to acquire it, then you don't get it. The effort that you put into acquiring something should be based on the need. If it's not that important, it shouldn't take this much effort to get it done, right? Is I'll buy you a Happy Meal. Fuck that Happy Meal, Mike. I love that. I love that thought because you're thinking Happy Meal, but you're thinking about 50 years ago, Happy Meals were cheap. A Happy Meal costs more money than a value meal, bro. Like, fuck that toy, that bullshit ass toy. They're putting a little cheeseburger in there with a small fry and charging you $10 for it. I could get a double quarter pounder with cheese, a large fry, and a large drink, and give that to my toddler and let him go play with the damn toys at the house. Fuck that Happy Meal, little bullshit ass toy. And God forbid if you have a girl, all they're gonna give you is a bunch of damn stickers. I could get the stickers from Walmart for $2 and some change. I could buy two double quarter pounders with cheese, and I could buy a large fry, and then I could go to Walmart and get some stickers. And my kid is not hungry, and neither am I. And I spent less money. I hate those Happy Meals now that I'm grown. You think, give me your money if the bank is giving you less than a penny. I will give you 3 cents on a dollar. That's a marketing scheme right there. Actually, the that's how people start um investment broker firms. If you give me your money, I'll invest your money wisely for a nominal fee. So if you know that you can get them 3 cents on a dollar, but you also know that you can get yourself 13 cents on a dollar, for every time they give you money, you walk away with 10 cents on a dollar using somebody else's money, because you're going to give them a cut of the money you're going to get off of their money. And since they don't have to put in the effort to make that money, they'll give the money to you and then tell other people how they gave money to you and got that return. And then other people will come and give them their money to you. And now you just got a bunch of money coming in. That's a fantastic business model. Is I give you the girl doll. Actually, yeah, that between the girl doll and the action figure, shoot. I used to have a Barbie dream house and a Barbie car. My sister was pissed, but it was right across from Castle Grayskull so that we could have the war back and forth with the GI Joes and the Masters of the Universe and the NWO, Hulk Hogan, Beast Man. I had the whole 9 yards. It was good versus evil. It was Sting versus the Undertaker. ATM machines, I'm still trying to figure out where the profit comes in there, because if they put money in and they get money out, the only profit that I can think about is a $2 charge for each time that they use the ATM machine. So if you don't own the ATM machine, I'm trying to figure out where the profit comes in at, because you're putting a bunch of money in, getting a bunch of money out, but the profit only comes from transactions. And I'm trying to see, like, because with a vending machine, you're gonna make a profit. So they're gonna buy stuff. But with an ATM machine, you're just exchanging out currency. And I'm trying to figure out, as a subcontractor, how do you profit from that? You know what I mean? Because the ATM machine is not free. The establishment is not yours. And where do you get your profit from to collect the cost of the vending machine versus, I mean, the ATM machine versus the cut you're going to give the establishment for the ATM machine being there, and how much profit you're going to get. So I'm gonna look into that, and then I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. That's actually a thought. He just look, see, he just gave me an idea on how to make some money. Because I've actually been thinking about ATM machines for a minute. Like, man, if I had the extra kind of money, I flip ATM machines. But then I'm like, wait, where do I get where do I get my profit from? Now, the third thing that you can do to save you a little bit of money is log out of all of your shopping accounts. If you have shopping apps on your phone, you want to delete them, or the very least, just log out of them after every single use. Just completely log out of them. Just like deleting your card info, the simple act of having to remember and type in your password is another layer of friction. It's another moment to pause how many times you have to think about uh, that same question. A late night purchase uh, that you just give up on because you couldn't remember your password. Because you notice that there's a lot of shopping apps where you can browse the app, you can look into certain stuff, but when it comes down to purchasing the item, you have to log into your account. If you don't remember your username and password, you can't buy anything. I logged out of Amazon, and it took so long for me to get logged back into Amazon. There was so much stuff that I don't buy from Amazon. I stay logged into Temu, but that freaking cart's got like 4,000. I'm careful. I'm like, I don't want to buy. I don't want to just instant buy anything, because I don't want to fuck around and buy $4,000 worth of shit. Have UPS put a whole Christmas tree worth of stuff on my front porch. I'm trying to. I ain't trying to do that. So these are some of the things that are part of the friction protocol because that allows the friction protocol to do its job. It just deters you from making that impulse buy because the effort it takes for you to log in, the effort it takes for you to find your credit information, the effort it takes for you to find your money, to find your wallet, to put all of this stuff deters you from making that impulse buy, which helps you save money on unnecessary things. All right, he's got the information. High traffic areas like stores, bars, gas stations, and stadiums. So those are the locations where the money is made the most. So you're going to turn your profit from high transaction usage. Special shout out to Cardinal. I feel like ATMs are more so a convenience thing for different business customers. Yeah, I agree with you on that because I'm not sure I personally would have the skill set to turn myself into a millionaire using ATM machines. Um, because most of the high volume areas that have ATM machines in it, I would be in a diluted scenario. And me myself, as an ATM user myself, I try to find a free ATM machine. I don't like to go to ones that charge me money. But an ATM machine was originally designed for convenience. The convenience of having the accessibility to your money even when the bank is closed or even when your bank is not in your area, the current area that you're in, so that you can go and impulse buy. So it's not necessarily it's the ATM machines are not necessarily a business, but you're right. Like Michael says, convenience sells. Convenience definitely sells. Yeah, churches are starting to put ATM machines in the lobby. So you can't say that you ain't bring no money to donate to Jesus because they got ATM machines in the lobby. Eight, look, Uber and Lyft are more successful than the regular cab companies because they're more accessible and they're cheaper. And the only reason why they're cheaper is because they're from a different business model. The individual subcontracted drivers use their own cars instead of Uber using cars that they have to hire people to drive, where Uber would be responsible for the maintenance. Taxi cab companies are responsible for their taxi cabs to be in pristine condition, and the driver just drives the car. The drivers for taxi cab companies make less money than an Uber driver because the majority of the stuff is provided by the company. Uber does put more money into the pockets of its drivers than taxi does, but Uber, Lyft, and other such taxi companies still make most of their money off of tips. So when they're not getting tipped out, they got to drive more. But Uber and Lyft are technically, in some situations, safer than a cab driver because they don't carry cash. Everything is paid for on the app. God needs his cut too. The Lord don't need nothing because when his son was walking through the streets barefoot with no clothes on his back, ain't nobody gave him no money. Throughout every scripture in the Bible, not one time did the Lord ask for a dollar, a peso, a euro, a krona. He asked for food and he asked for shoes. Act technically he asked for sandals. And I think he asked for a cloak or something. Basically clothes. Never money. Never money. Probably the only entity in human history that could give two shits about money. But I gotta tell you, they got some people that would be kings at late night Amazon buys. I know my homeboy's mom. She buys up so much stuff on Amazon. I told y'all the story about how his mom bought a $500 chair with the rent money because she just had to have it. And then not only did she make him make up the difference on the rent, she made him put the chair together when it got there. I was like, bro, me and her would have had a falling out because she lied to you, tricked you into the $500 chair being bought, and then you had to compensate off the lie. My pride, my ego, my frustration, like so much stuff would have been going on right there. Like, no, but he put the chair together. So when we think about this, people that these people would see something while watching a TV show, and then two taps later, they find themselves on the way to Amazon. You know, but when you think about how when you're implementing these protocols, the first time you had to get out of your warm bed to find your wallet, especially if it's in the other room. That's the moment of clarity when you just like fuck it, because you'll be standing there in the dark, credit card in hand, and just starting to laugh because you're about to spend $50 on a professional avocado slicer. An avocado slicer. The absurdity. It's gonna hit you in the face. You're gonna put that card back and you're gonna take your ass back to bed. This is the thing. You never think about that avocado slicer again. The friction doesn't stop the purchase. It just shows you how ridiculous the impulse was in that moment. This itself is it's not really like self denial. It's a strategic laziness because you're um not willing to put in the effort to get the item because the item is not that valuable. It's not like if they were offering a 67 Chevelle for $20. I don't give a fuck if I got to knock somebody off to get that $20. I'm going to have that 67 Chevelle. But I mean, fuzzy dice? Who the fuck? He says he's still living at home. You know what? Yes, he's still living at home. Ah. Ah, man, I he 32. Uh, look, I told the whole story, and then I was like, wait, why autofill? So autofill for the convenience of not having to look the shit up again. So you have auto bill pay, you have auto um, direct deposit, you have um, the autofill information for your credit cards and your shipping information because that's another thing that you technically could do, but I'm a little bit scared about that because I don't remember my fucking address because I don't use it for anything because everything that matters to me gets mailed to a post office box by default. So if a package is shipped, it has to be shipped directly to the house. So the deleting the shipping location would make it hard, even if your credit card information was on file for some reason, it wouldn't have a destination. So it would force you to remember what your address is. But you risk in the middle of the night putting in the wrong address and the shit getting shipped somewhere else. So deleting the auto all of the autofill information probably the best thing for you is that everything on speed fill or push here. Yeah, speed fill, autofill. You also have autofill options on your T9, your at least on my Samsung, when you're in those pre-fill boxes, you have for Samsung, and I think iPhone has the same thing, the Samsung Pass that stores all of your information as prompts so that when text boxes come up to fill in financial information, guess what you have? You have a little tab in your text messages where you can push that tab and it pre-fills all of your information on this. So you got to go on your phone and delete that too. He's laughing about my homeboy. Hey me. I ain't living with my mama. But no, I forget where I live because of I don't never use the address. I don't use the address. I don't need it for anything. Shit. The outside of the address being on my driver's license, there is no other reason for me to have the address. I thought about my address tattoo to my butt. Return to sender. That only works if you're never gonna move again. Because if you move, you're going to have a phone book on your ass because every address you've ever lived at will be tattooed under the last. And at that point, you might as well just go and get your credit report and just get the last five addresses and tattoo them on your ass. Kiss my return to sender. Uh, this strategic laziness is going to allow yourself to make it easier to do the right thing by making it harder to do the wrong thing. Now, one of our next hacks is going to tackle an invisible enemy. Now, most of us think we have a decent handle on where our money goes, and the big stuff like rent, car payments, and groceries, which is why Michael was saying get the list. The big real damage often comes from the ghost expenses. These are going to be the small, silent, reoccurring charges that haunt our bank accounts, draining hundreds or even thousands of dollars a year without us ever really noticing it. There are the subscriptions that you forgot about, the free trial that now has a monthly fee on it that you forgot about, and the duplicate services that you pay for without realizing it. The psychological trap here is habituation. Your brain gets used to seeing these small 9.99 here and 14.99 there that they just become background noise. They don't trigger the same pain as pain of pain as a big purchase. So a $15 charge doesn't feel like a big deal, but when it happens every single month for a service you haven't used in a year, it's death by a thousand cuts. A study even found that people underestimate what they spend on subscriptions by a huge amount, sometimes thinking it's like $80 a month when it's really over $200. So, this hack that I'm about to give you guys uh, solves that feeling of I make good money, so where does all of my money go? You feel broke, but you can't point to one big irresponsible purchase because it's not one big irresponsible purchase. Your financial ship isn't being sunk by a cannonball, it's being sunk from a thousand tiny individual leaks. Does the money control you or do you control your money? Well, money controls everyone to a minimalistic degree, specifically because you need money to buy food to eat, unless somebody else is going to spend money to buy food to feed you. You need money to pay for shelter, um, and you need money to have clean clothes, if not buy new clothes. But beyond that, you don't need money to live beyond your basic necessities. Now, since you do have a basic necessity, you do have to go to work. So you do go to work where you can work and make enough money to pay for what you need. And to that magnitude, money controls you. But does money control you to the magnitude where you don't have a life because your whole life is changing, chasing money that you never obtain, or that you obtain it and then it disappears so quickly that you got to chase some more? There are some people that are controlled by money like that. And then there are other people that forgot that they have money because they only use the money that they need and they have plenty of money. So that's a good question. But to answer that question, for the majority of Americans, their money controls them. You wake up in the middle of the night to go to work so that you can make that money. You're going to work in the rain so that you can make that money. The blizzard outside, you're going to work to make that money. Hurricane, you're going to work to make that money. If you're living in Chicago with a terrorist attacks from ISIS and you're going to work through that riot to pay your bills, you are going to work to make that money. Money controls you. Money controls you. But how you make that money, you can control that. How often you make the money, how much effort you have to put into the money, you can control that. So, this solution to where your money is going is the ghost expense audit. And this is going to be more than just glancing at your bank statements. It's a full on forensic investigation, like what Michael said, do earlier. So, first, you're going to block out about 90 minutes in your calendar, and you want to treat it like an appointment. You want to go through all your banks and credit cards, bank statements and credit cards all over the websites, download your statements. And for the last 90 days is what you want to pay attention to, and just look at every item on the screen. Print them out. Holding that paper and using a highlighter create a completely different level of focus on what you're looking at. Then you want to grab three different color highlighters, let's say green, yellow, and red, and then you want to go through every single line item. The green is going to be used for essentials, fixed costs, rent, mortgage, utilities, car payments, core groceries, the non negotiable stuff that you need. Yellow is going to be used for things that bring you genuine value and joy. This is a personal scenario. It might be your gym membership that you use 5 times a week, the one streaming service with all your favorite shows on it, or a weekly coffee with a friend that's vital for your sanity. These things uh, earn their keep. Okay. Then the red stuff. This is for the ghosts. Highlight everything else, every subscription you don't recognize, every free trial that started billing you, every food delivery fee from a lazy night, every streaming service you got for just one show and forgot to cancel it. Be ruthless. If you have to ask yourself, what is this? Highlight it in red. Third, once you've done your pages, will be a colorful mess. Now, a separate piece of paper lists every single red highlighted item and its monthly cost. This is your ghost list. Add it all up. For most people, this number is a genuine shock, often hundreds of thousands of dollars. Mine is zero because I don't buy nothing. But this isn't a moment for shame. It is a moment of empowerment because you just made the invisible visible. You caught the ghost. He said, got that second job. Going to work sucks, but you going to work for money. Go over them two weekly. It gives you more mental control. Yeah, it does. Get rid of the red. That's exactly what we're going to be doing. You got to get rid of the red. And if you get rid of the red, just like you said earlier, once you've gotten rid of the red, the money that you was spending in the red, you can redirect that into investments, high interest savings, um, health savings accounts, or cash dividend stocks that would be paying you so that you can have more money making money for you instead of spending more of your principal. And if you're doing that, then you can tell yourself that you're only going to spend the dividends from your portfolio instead of spending the capital out of your pocket where you're going to take all of your extra money, put it into your investment. And then if you're only getting 15% back every quarter or every year, out of that 15% back out of your investment, you can spend that on bullshit because you're spending the interest, not the principal, which is way different. It's way different. And you'll find yourself in a situation where you might not even spend that because you start seeing the growth of your portfolio. You start seeing the growth of your savings, and then you're going to start being more determined to save more because when you see how much stuff can be paid for with your stock option. You're going to be trying to see how much more you can put in there so that you can get more stuff paid for by your stock option. And there's nothing like getting a $10,000 a month back from the bank where they're paying you because they got so much of your money. And your bills is paid and you ain't got to go to work. Reinvestment into your credit card payments, pay them down faster. Yep, that's another one you can do. Pay your credit. Your credit card should be at a $0 balance, or less than 10%. But if they're higher than that, then yes, you need to reinvest your money to paying down your credit card payments, advance pay on some utility bills, and pay advance pay on your rent, advance pay on your car insurance. You want to start putting extra money in extra places. Start up an emergency fund. Start putting money in extra places so that you've got extra money sitting around. To finally get your tires replaced, get your spare tire fixed so that you don't have to worry about a blowout. You know, get your car fixed so that you don't have to worry about a breakdown. Start doing some preventative maintenance. Take your ass to the doctor. Start like really do some stuff that benefits you instead of wasting the money on impulse buys in the middle of the night. Right? Because I had a friend do this who was convinced that he only had a few subscriptions, and his red list was staggering. He was paying for two music streaming services, a cloud storage service he hadn't used in 3 years, a premium weather app. Who the fuck pays for a premium weather app? A subscription box for dog toys. His dog had passed away 6 months earlier, and my dog ain't using none of that stuff. And a gym on the other side of town that he had completely forgotten about. His ghost list was over $170 a month is what it was, which was more than $2,000 a year. And that was the money that was vanishing completely out of his income without him even thinking about it. Is it live like a homeless person? Sometimes that's what you got to do. Because if you live like a homeless person for 10 years, you'll be a millionaire. And if you live like a homeless person for 20 years, you'll be a multimillionaire. Or you can live the life of Raleigh every day of the week and always be broke, wishing that you had enough money to make ends meet. Well, if you're going to live with your folks, you need to live with your folks when they're not making a bunch of Amazon purchases using your money. I'm not going to let that friend go. I'm not going to let that friend go. Shade over his head. Shade. Now, the final, most satisfying step is exorcisms. So you want to go down that ghost list. You want to cancel everything in the red items. Not later, right now. You want to get rid of all of that stuff. Some companies make it intentionally hard, forcing you to call them. You got to call them. It's not necessarily 5 minutes. Sometimes it's longer. And a lot of times they have a recovery team. So when you want to cancel stuff, they're going to want to talk you out of it, and you are going to insist on canceling it. And as you get each time you get something canceled, you're going to feel that weight lift off of your shoulders. I mean, you're really going to feel relieved because you're reclaiming your financial power back. This audit isn't a budget; it's a cleanse. Okay, do it once a quarter. Make sure your money only goes to things that you consciously value. Like if you're paying for a fax machine number that you rarely use, but you have used that fax machine number for legal purposes, it's better to keep that bad boy going than to turn it off because the one day you need to send or receive a fax, uh, your fax number isn't going to be active. But if you set it up because you needed that fax for things that you're sending faxes for, keep sending those fax. Keep sending those facts. A lot of times you have stuff that you set up in life with the intent to use, and then you don't benefit from it because you don't prioritize using it that way. If you've got scenarios instead of emailing shit to folks, or you got a fax machine, you just fax on some shit. If you've got an extra phone number, use that bitch. If you've got extra electronic devices around the way that aren't serving the purpose, put them to work. Put them to work. Don't just forget about it and leave it there. If you find it, put it to work. And if you can't put it to work, sell it. Sell it. But now, if you find some of these tricks helpful and you've already had that light bulb moment about the ghost experience and you need to cancel stuff, do me a quick favor, hit that subscription button and the notification bells, like the show, keep coming back because we got a lot of stuff going on throughout the week. And we're all about building wealth in the ways that actually works with your brain, not against it. And you won't want to miss out on what's coming. So, since your subscription to this channel is going to be probably the smartest vote that you've ever had, and it's not harder than any financial decision that you've ever made before. I recommend that you stick with it, and then dive in just like Dylan, because a lot of the information that we give you guys, we put it into the membership. He says, have the info sent to the property manager and she'll mail them to me. Well, why? If I've got a fax, why not fax it to you? You get it direct. If we're paying for a fax number, you might as well use a fax number. Now, let's be honest, traditional budgeting is broken. We've been talking about that forever. Based on restrictions, it forces you to track every dollar and then feel guilty when you inevitably go over, right? Oh. Well, yeah, mail is free, but mail technically takes 2 or 3 days. A fax takes like 20 minutes. You're paying for the convenience of getting it now versus getting it later. Only in time sensitive scenarios does that matter. Now, this is going to be a system, the bank system is going to be a system designed for failure because it fights human nature. Nobody enjoys being told no all the time, especially by themselves. The anti budget flips this on its head. Instead of focusing on what you can't spend, it's focusing only on what you will save, and it does it automatically, requiring zero willpower. So the the psychology here is powerful. It uses the out of sight, out of mind principle. When the money is automatically whisked away from your checking account the second you get paid, you never really see it as spendable income. Your brain is just adapting to the living styles that you have on what's left. So this is so much easier than seeing a big balance in your checking account and trying to restrain yourself from uh, spending that money for the whole month. This method automates your most important financial decisions. So this hack is going to solve the classic end of the month problem. You get your paycheck, pay all your big bills, and then you try to live on the rest, just hoping something's left to save. But life is always going to happen. Dinner out, a new pair of shoes, a few impulse buys, and suddenly there's nothing left. You're constantly running on a financial treadmill. The solution is to build an automated anti budget. That anti budget should put your future self first. Think of it as a 3 step automated waterfall for your money. Step one, choose your destination. You're going to need to know where the money is going, and you will want at least one, maybe two separate accounts for your daily checking. Completely different locations that are not directly your sources of spending. Probably scenarios that doesn't actually have debit cards attached to them where you have to wire transfer them back and then pull it off of the card somewhere else. The harder it is to get to, the less likely you're going to spend it. You should be able to easily find it, but it should be difficult to access. Scenarios where you must go to the bank and withdraw the money out directly kind of situation. The money's not going anywhere. See what I'm saying? He says, why do you think you see all these ads that say what you spend will invest your change for you? Oh, what you don't spend will invest your change for you. I know there's some typos in there somewhere, Michael, but I understand what you're trying to say. The difference between what you spend and what you save will change your future based on what you're investing is typically what you were trying to get at there. I understand that. But the problem is that people they save money first. So the average broke person responsibly puts their money on their bills first, some of the time. And then they sit on whatever's left just in case. That's their emergency fund, is whatever's left over from their paycheck. If they don't have an emergency, it is their party money. That's why they stay broke. If the money lasts until their next paycheck, it is extra money. They don't invest it. What we're going to do here is if you can predict the quantity of money that you're not going to need, it is taken before you get to spend it so that it is not there. And if it is taken to a different location where while you know where it went, you have hell and damnation to get to it. If you want to impulse buy, you're going to determine to yourself that it is not worth going after that money. Say, for example, we were talking about investing in gold. And then I said, well, if you have a family emergency and you need to go spend money on something right now, you would have to sell the gold, which might take a few days to a couple of weeks. And then the money's got to clear. And then when the money clears, you got to deposit it into the bank. And then it's going to be 2 to 3 days for it to be deposited into the bank, depending on how much it is. It might be 5 to 7 days. And that means it might take you 2 to 3 weeks to get your money if you invest in gold. Now, if you wanted to impulse buy and you had $20,000 worth of gold, and you're looking at something that might cost like $1,000, 6 payments of $300 or $500, whatever, and you think to yourself, "Fuck, the time it would take for me to sell," and they're doing like a clearance sale on it or whatever, and buy now, buy in the next 12 hours, but it's going to take you 3 weeks to get your money. Yeah, you're not going to make that purchase. You're not going to get rid of your stock option in order to make that purchase because the purchase ain't going to be there by the time the money clears. By moving your money outside of your immediate reach, you know where it is, you can see it, but you actually can't act on it. That prevents you from messing with that particular account for an impulse purchase. It doesn't stop you from cleaning that account out for an emergency, but it will stop you from wasting your money on unnecessary spending because if you have to go through the trouble of taking 3 weeks to get the money, it better be damn important. So as we talked about on Tuesday, um, a high interest savings account. This is going to be for your emergency fund and short term goals like down payments on stuff. It's best if this is at a different bank than your primary checking account, and a little friction here is going to make it harder to raid for non emergencies. Okay. An investment account. This is for long term wealth building, like a Roth IRA or a simple brokerage account for low cost index funds, like the Stash app that allows you to invest in stocks and bonds and ETFs that pay dividends on a monthly basis. Do a robo advisors that are great for simple options in this particular situation. And that will help you with not only taking your money and putting it somewhere else, it'll also um, do some micro trading for you so that you don't have to worry about losing any of your money. Your money will be, for the most part, where you can access it on those portfolios and platforms. Now, step two, you want to calculate your freedom contribution. This is where that ghost expense audit became your superpower. You want to look at your list of canceled subscriptions and add up the monthly total because this is the money you were spending regardless. Let's say it was $85. Now, think about other mindless spending. Maybe you drop $100 a month on lunches at work. If you pack the lunch 3 days a week, you could easily save $60. Add that to your 85. Now you found $145 a month. This isn't new money. It's the money that you were already spending on things that didn't really matter. Step three, build an automated waterfall. This is the core of the anti budget. You're going to set up an automatic transfer that triggers the day you get paid. Log into your payroll provider or your bank, and you want to set up a reoccurring automatic transfer from your checking account to your savings account and investments accounts. Using our $145 example, you could set up one automatically transfer uh, the $75 of your high yield savings account and $70 to your investment account. So out of the 145, you would move $75 to your high interest savings account and $70 to your stock portfolio. If you schedule this to happen on your payday, this is going to be the key. The money for your future gets paid before you can go and pay Amazon or DoorDash. Pay yourself first. He said, if society well, we'll smell it. That's for sure. If society went into the toilet, we wouldn't just feel shitty. We would smell shitty too. So let's use an example. Let's talk about a story about a Sarah, a client that um always stressed out about money. Had a good salary though. She set up an anti-budget. Found $450 a month in mindless spending, daily coffees, tons of streaming services, impulse clothes buying, Prada shoes, all kinds of stuff. One payday, uh, she had $250 automatically sent to her high yield savings account. Move out of a tiny apartment is what she called it. That was the fund. A $200 amount was sent to her Roth IRA. The first month felt weird for her, but her checking account looked lower than usual, but she had to think twice before ordering takeout as a result. By the second month, something amazing happened. Her brain just adapted. She started cooking more, not because she felt deprived, but because that was the money she had. She didn't miss the daily coffee, but she never saw that money in her account to begin with. After 6 months, she called. We actually had a nice discussion about it. She was very ecstatic. She had $1,500 in her moving fund and $1,200 in her Roth IRA. So I hear that, according to her, it's the weirdest thing. It feels like I took a pay cut, but I've never felt richer. And that's actually pretty interesting for her to tell me. But that's the power of the anti budget. The amount left in your checking account is yours to spend guilt free. You don't need to be complicated about a massive budget because the most important decision is saving and investing. And that has already been made for you automatically. I've actually calculated that technically, if you have the capabilities of pulling between $500 a month and thousand or to $1,500 a month, putting that into a high interest stock portfolio, that you could find yourself well over a few $100,000 in 10 years. Where if you were living off the principal, that same 16, 17% interest would be paying you almost 25 or $30,000. Now, for some individuals who are living in places like Minnesota and California and New York, that $30,000 might not be enough. But there's a lot of states around the United States where that $30,000 will cover the whole bottom line of your standard of living. That's not entertainment, but like Michael said, she's debt free now. Always pay yourself. Good job, Sarah. You're right. So, why do we really make impulse purchases? It's really about the thing itself. It's about the feeling and the hunt. It's that brief but powerful rush of dopamine that our brain gets when we discover something new and exciting. Online shopping, with its endless novelty, is like a dopamine slot machine. So you scroll, you get a little hit, you add to the cart, you get another little hit, you buy a big hit. The problem is that feeling disappears quite fast, and it's often followed by a lot of regret. Is that I got stuck running a warehouse and can't have an earbuds in today. Just here to drop in my light, and I will catch this episode later. Peace. And I appreciate you coming through, Stephen. I still got that information I'm gonna send to you. So just stay tuned whenever you can get a chance to watch it. That's one of the best parts about this show is that you can get it when you have time for it because it's always going to be here. We're not going to put up a show and then delete it. We're going to have the show stay up there. They're never coming down. It, you just got to get it up there. So trying to fight the biological urges with willpower is like trying to hold your breath forever. Eventually, you have to breathe. In the same way, your brain's craving for a reward will eventually overpower your best intentions. Overpowering your best intentions. The dopamine decay or the dopamine decoy method isn't about fighting this urge, it's about satisfying it with a healthier uh financially productive alternative. So we're giving you a financially productive alternative. So we're going to give your brain the novelty it craves without the financial hangover. Now, this hack solves that feeling of being bored, stressed, or tired that leads you to open a shopping app to just look, right? Window shopping. You're not looking for anything specific. You're seeking stimulation, an escape that just looking is the gateway drug to a $200 cart full of stuff that you actually don't need, which makes it convenient. That's right. Oh, yeah, this podcast is very convenient because y'all be able to come and find it and watch us later. Now, the solution is to create a pre planned dopamine decoy, an activity that you can turn to that provides a similar reward loop without the cost. The key is that it has to be just as easy as accessible shopping apps. So something as simple as opening up an app needs to be what you're going to be doing to get that dopamine shot. So let's talk about it. Here's how you set up your dopamine decoys. First, identify your triggers. When do you mindlessly shop? Is it late night, during your lunch break, while you're watching TV? Just knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe. All right. Second, create your menu of decoys. These should be things on your phone that give you a sense of progress or discovery. Here are a few powerful examples. The investment portfolio check. This is my personal favorite. Instead of opening Amazon, open your investment app. Look at your portfolio growth. Work on your dividend rotation strategy. Seeing that your money is making more money for you. This is going to provide a powerful dopamine hit of achievement. It directly replaces the shopping reward with a wealth building reward. He says, want to buy this cheap jewelry? Oh, you know what gets so messed up about that is that because we spend so much money so often, we don't have enough money to buy real gold and expensive diamonds and everything to that effect. So what we end up doing is we start buying costume jewelry. It looks like gold, but it's not gold. It looks like it's got diamonds in it, but it's cubic zirconiums because we don't have any more money left because we're forever impulse buying. And then the funny thing is that after we buy it, we don't even wear the shit. We bought it, we probably wore it a couple times. Then, God forbid, if it tarnishes our skin when we're wearing it, then we don't wear it as much. And then we find ourselves leaving it in a jewelry box. And then we find ourselves never messing with it again. Waste of money. So, the goal oriented Pinterest board is going to be one of our other steps. You want to create a secret Pinterest board for a huge financial goal, a trip to Italy, a dream home, financial freedom. Fill it with a beautiful, inspiring image, whatever you want to do. When you feel the urge to shop for stuff, open up your dream board on Pinterest. Instead, scroll through photos of Amalfi Coast or your dream kitchen. This redirects your wants energy from short term junk to long term. This will give you life changing goals. So if you're interested in buying a house, you could go on to one of those real estate apps and you can go in, look up a few dozen houses. Then you can look at a specific house that you wish you could buy. While that house is still on the listing, you can take a look at that house once or twice a week and make sure that the house is still for sale. Until you qualify to buy the house, as long as the house is for sale, you can aim for that goal. While you're continuing to aim for that goal, if the house gets sold before you get there, you look at all the success that you have with getting there, then you want to turn around and set up another house that's going to be the goal to go and get. But you're almost there because you were almost there when the last one got sold. He said, where do you think the term junk drawer come from? And then I buy a dirt cheap and resell it to the next fool. So he got a drawer full of junk and he just waiting for somebody to look at that junk so he could be like, "You want it? I'll sell it." And since you didn't really use it, it looks brand new, so you're gonna sell it as if it's brand new. And it's new to them, so their dopamine hit happens because they bought it from you, and your dopamine hit happens because you sold it. You get two dopamine hits, one for buying it, one for impulse buying, and then one for impulse selling. That's a good skill set. Now, this wish list form, this is going to be another one, and almost everyone online has a wish list or a save for later feature. Every um app that you go to, everything that sells something has either a wish list or a save for later feature. Even YouTube Music has a save for later setting. So you want to use this as your decoy. When you see something you think you want, your new rule is that you can't put it in the cart. You have to put it on a wish list. Saving the item gives you a little dopamine hit, satisfying the urge to get it without spending money. And that's one of the things that I do with my Temu app. I will grab a bunch of stuff and I'll just throw it in the cart, but I won't buy it. Not that day. Then when I go back to the cart, I'll scroll through the things that are in the cart. And if those items are still for sale, whenever I decide that I want to go get them, I'll go back through it and then I'll see if I can afford to grab it that time. However, if I scroll through it and the item that I was looking for isn't there anymore because it's sold out, or if the price changed and I don't want to pay that price, or if I'm looking at it just for the sake of looking at it because I've already redirected all of my discretionary spending to other stuff, then I don't impulse buy. And another issue that we have with impulse buying is that if you already had a budget where everything was dedicated to something, even if it wasn't primary bills, if you impulse buy, you just derailed your plans for the month because what you was going to save or invest in, you're not able to save or invest in because you impulse buy. So you want to use this method as the ideal farm. The rule is that you can't buy anything from the farm for at least 30 days. So when you look back a month later, you will be shocked how much of the items you don't want anymore. This is a fantastic method. You're scrolling through whatever, you see something that you might want to buy, you put it in a save for later file, and then you go back and look at it next month and see if you still want it. The learning rabbit hole is another one because instead of shopping rabbit holes, dive down and learning one. So have a list of things that you're curious about: ancient history, coding, a new language on an app like Duolingo. And when you get the itch to scroll, open Wikipedia or a learning app instead. The act of discovery provides a similar novelty hit as shopping, which is one of the reasons why I'm doing research for the show every night. So instead of being a sucker for online tech deals, you can see a limited time sale and feel this intense pressure to buy before it's gone. Even if the situation isn't gone, it's just going to encourage people to buy now. Me myself, I wait until that deal is over and see if the item's still there. The dopamine decoy is going to be better because your dopamine is still fulfilled and your impulse buy feeling is gone. By making that rule before you can buy anything tech or anything, that you have to open your investment app, look at the chart, see compounding in action, the desire for a gadget that you just wanted would have melted away. And this would happen because replacing the fleeting thrill of a new toy with a profound satisfaction of watching your future self get richer is going to be intoxicating. So the decoy gives your brain what it wants, which is a sense of reward, but it's aligned with real goals. Now, this is going to be the final hack, the most powerful one, because it combines all of the other principles and turns saving money into an addictive, rewarding game. This is where we weaponize your worst spending impulse and turn them directly into fuel for your investment portfolio. We are going to gamify the act of not spending. The psychology here comes from gamification, using things like points and real-time feedback to make a task more engaging. This works with your family, girlfriends, kids, um, because our brain loves games. They love seeing a score go up. They love feeling of winning. So we're about to create a game where your score of points by not buying something and the points are real dollars that go straight into your investment account. And this is going to create a positive feedback loop that's just as powerful as the negative loop of impulse spending. He said, I do need it or I do want it. Come on down, see Big Mike. He can get you, he can get it cheaper. It's not worth buying. If you can't get it from me, it is not worth buying. This is a win-win for both of us. Now, this hack solves major problems. When you resist an impulse, there's no immediate reward. You just don't have the thing. Your brain doesn't get a dopamine hit for that. It feels like a non event, which is why willpower is so hard. The almost bought it game creates the missing reinforcement, makes savings feel like an active, thrilling victory. The almost bought it game. Now, here's how you play the almost bought it game. Step one, set up the playing field. Put your investment account app on the home screen of your phone. Right next to it, put your banking app. These are your game controls. I would personally put them on like the second, fifth, ninth, 12th page, somewhere where it's not immediately seen if somebody's borrowing your phone. But these are going to be your controllers for the game. Step two, you want to learn the rules. The game starts anytime you want to make an impulse purchase, anything that's not a planned necessary expense. You see an item that you want, let's say a $75 pair of sneakers that you saw on Instagram, and you might first apply the friction protocol and wait a period. You add it to your wish list. Hack number four, but you do not buy it. The next day, you look at it again. The emotional urge has probably faded. You realize, I actually don't need these. My current sneakers are fine. This is where you score. You have successfully decided not to buy the $75 sneakers. You have almost bought it. Step three, claim your points. Now, this is a crucial, non negotiable part. The moment you decided not to buy, you immediately opened your banking app and you initiated a one time transfer of the exact amount you almost spent, $75, from your checking account to your investment account. Title it Transfer Almost Bought It Sneakers, right? Now, this is the magic. You close the loop. You go You got the thrill of the hunt, but instead of the money going to the corporation, it went directly to your future self. The act of transferring the money provides a huge tangible dopamine hit. You see your investment balance go up, and you are actively rewarding your good behavior in real time. You get that same dopamine hit from advance paying on your rent and other essential bills because now you don't have you know how good it feels to get revolving bills in and it says $0 owed in 2 weeks. You don't owe anybody anything right now. That feeling is fantastic. Okay, we had students who was addicted to food delivery apps, spending 400 to 500 a month. They started playing this game. Every time they felt the urge to order a pizza, they would pause, think about the game, and then make a simple pasta instead. Then immediately pick up the phone, transfer the $30 into the investment account, and label it almost bought it pizza. At the end of the first month, they had transferred over $400 into their investments, telling me it was the most fun they had ever had saving money. The game totally transformed the perspective. Every time an ad for food delivery popped up, he didn't see it uh, as a temptation, saw it as an opportunity to score points for his future self. He would literally say out loud, "Ooh, nice, another chance to invest $30." He hijacked the advertiser's own triggers and made it his own. He was no longer a victim of his impulses. He was a player in a game he was designed to win at. This game is the ultimate expression of financial aikido. It takes the full force of a spending impulse and, with one simple move, redirects that energy into your own wealth. It's the most direct way to turn your biggest financial weakness into your greatest strength. So there you have it. Five unorthodox hacks to stop wasting money that are designed to work with your brain, not against it. Let's do a quick recap. The friction protocol that makes spending harder by deleting saved cards, forcing a pause for your logical brain to kick in. The ghost expense audit, which hunt down and cancel the invisible subscription silently draining your account, the anti-budget system, which automate your savings on payday so you build wealth without even trying, dopamine decay, where you satisfy your brain's craving for novelty by checking your investment or a goal board instead of shopping apps. The almost bought it game, which gamifies savings by immediately investing the money that you almost spent, turning every resisted impulse into a win. See the theme here? Not one of these relies on willpower. They are all about creating systems of friction, automation, and psychological redirection. They acknowledge that we're human and the modern world is designed to make us spend. Instead of trying to be a perfect robotic budgeter, you can be the clever architect of your own financial world. You can build a system where saving is easy, automatic, and even fun. You can turn impulse buys into automatic investments and build real wealth without the usual pain and guilt. Your first self is going to thank you. Well, your future self will definitely thank you if your first self didn't thank you. Because I think myself, never really. I actually realized that I'm doing a good job. And the first time I'm telling myself that this year. So yeah, I'm doing a pretty good job. I get this shit under control. But now I want to hear from you guys. What is the most unorthodox or weirdest way that you found a way to save money? Share your best hacks in the comments because I read every single one of them. And the best ideas always come from this community. And if you want to get deeper on automating your investments, you want to check out the next videos that we have uh, on the show because we're actually going to be covering more about these uh, later this week and sometime next week. Now, look at that 2 hours and 30 minutes. Whew, we covered a lot of stuff. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Before we go, I want to say, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you, ladies, to make it make sense. So, ladies, please make it make sense. Fellas, I provide you guys with information to help y'all become higher valued men, not only through your income, but also by your decision making. Just today's show alone showed you how something so simple that is inside of your control that you can make changes to can give you drastic changes in your life. And then you can navigate around the things that you cannot control. But while we're a male driven podcast from the male perspective, ladies, this information can be utilized by you to make yourselves higher valued women as well, because you too can prioritize the things in your life that you do not like so that you can improve them, so that you can have an improved life with no complaints. Now, we've got a lot of stuff coming up for the rest of the week, and I still got to get the stuff together for Steven. So I'm going to be trying to head out now so that I can go ahead and get some of that stuff together. Because hopefully by Saturday evening, I got him with all the information that he needs, and then all the information that's going to be in the membership for the rest of you guys. So I want to thank you guys for coming to the show. I want to appreciate for those of you that are watching me from Twitter and Twitch. Um, I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And then I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Higher ground! Used to chase validation, now I validate That's my personal command. I'm not mounted on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.